Today, we are doing a deep dive into a sex position that can be incredibly pleasurable for both the giver and receiver. And those of you who like deep penetration, you're definitely going to want to listen to this one because this is for you. I'm talking about the seashell position. Now, we could call the seashell position a fun cousin of missionary, and there are a lot of reasons that this position is so great. The receiving partner lies on their back and the giving partner lays on top of them. This allows for the intimacy of being face to face that missionary is known for, but with an important twist. In this video, I'm going to share exactly how to do the seashell position for ultimate pleasure, because there are definitely some things that you are going to want to be mindful of in order to make sure that you both are having a fantastic experience and that nobody gets hurt, which I assume are both important to you if you are watching this video and subscribed to this channel. I'm also going to share some tips on how to take this position to the next level, as well as some adjustments that you can make based on you and your partner's unique bodies and needs. First things first, what is the seashell position? Seashell position, seashell position, seashell position. As I mentioned earlier, the receiver, often the woman, lies on their back and the giver is on top. Now, rather than just spreading her legs, the receiver actually bends back their legs and lifts their pelvis, which effectively has them shaped folded over like a seashell. Depending on flexibility, the receiver can put their ankles all the way back up close to their ears. The giver gets on top and inserts themselves from above. Simple as that. You have the seashell. When you are on top, you can either rest your hands on either side of your partner to prop yourself up, or you can hold on to their legs. Quick side note, a variation of this position is how I tore my hamstring tendon. Just one of the many embarrassing injuries that I have incurred during sex. If you would like a video about that time and all of the other times that I have injured or hurt myself or done something really embarrassing during sex, please write in the comments below and I will make that for you. And for science. Now, it is important to remember that even though this isn't a super active position for the receiver, it does require some flexibility, and it is important to start slow and make sure that your partner is comfortable. Remember also that sex can increase our pain tolerance, and that can be dangerous. So we need to keep that in mind so that we don't push ourselves over the edge. Also, it never hurts to stretch first. Remember, sex is an athletic activity and we can treat it like one. While getting into this position as the giver, you are at a great angle to gently touch and massage her hips or up and down her legs, which can also be a great way to transition into this position. And as always, it is good to start things slow and have plenty of communication along the way, making sure that it feels good for her. Now, in order to get the most of this position, it is important to know exactly what it's great for and the things to look out for to make sure that everyone is having the best time. All right, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this video and introduce you to Joymode. Joymode makes natural and science-backed wellness products for men. Their sexual performance booster is like a pre-workout, but for sex. If you're like me and you want to put only high quality things in your body that help it to perform at its best, Joymode has created a product that will support erection firmness and quality, supports sex drive, and supports healthy blood flow to the areas that need it most. It's very simple to use. All you do is mix one of these packets with water and drink it 5 hours to 45 minutes before sexual activity in order to experience that boost in the bedroom. Whether you're really happy with your sex life already and you just want to perform a little bit better, or you just want to make sure that your partner is getting the best of you possible, Joymode is like a pre-workout, but for the bedroom. I recommend that you check it out. They're offering a special 20% discount to subscribers of my channel. All you have to do is go to usejoymode.com/CaitlinV and enter CaitlinV at checkout. Let's get into the pros of the seashell position, as well as some potential cons and what you can do to overcome them. Pro number one, deep penetration. The number one reason that people tend to love this position is that it provides a great angle for deep penetration. Depending on both of your bodies, you can line up with her cervix and hit the anterior or posterior fornix, A and P spot, which respond to deep pleasure. This is a great position, especially if you are someone who is a little shorter in length, if you are the giving partner. It exemplifies what they mean when they say that it is not the size that counts, but how you use it. Because by positioning her body in the right way, you will be able to give her more intense sensations, and they'll feel great for you too. Pro number 2, restful for the receiver. The second reason that women love this position is that despite it being very bendy, it's actually still quite restful. Other than maybe like engaging her vaginal muscles and tilting up her pelvis, the rest of her body gets to be still and relax against the bed. So this is popular for women who like to lay back and receive. And it can be very sexy for a woman when a man takes command. And as an added bonus in this position, you have some control over her body, which can be really hot for women who like to experience your dominance in bed. You can maneuver her by spreading her legs or by closing them, to moving them to one side or the other to rest on your shoulder. And every time that you do this, the angle is going to change slightly, but like importantly for her body. So be sure to check in with her on which positioning feels most pleasurable for her. Pro number 3, intimacy and full access. One of the great things about the seashell position is that it's got a bit of spice that comes with the bending of your body in a pretzel while still being intimate. From this position, you can look into each other's eyes, you can touch and caress each other's faces, you have full access to the entire front of her body to touch and admire. On top of that, because she's bent over at the waist, you will have more easy access to her butt, which she may enjoy you grabbing or spanking. Check in on what feels best for her each time from this position. There's so much that you can access and play with, so just experiment. So it's clear that there's a lot to like, but of course there are some potential cons for you to be mindful of. Con number 1, deep penetration isn't for everyone. Okay, so that first pro that I listed is actually a double-edged sword. When you're experimenting with the seashell position, it is important to remember that not every woman actually enjoys super deep penetration. Depending on how your anatomy fits together, this position has the risk of being a bit painful if your penis hits her cervix. Actually really painful. Depending on where she's at her menstrual cycle, she could be feeling very sensitive in her cervix, so be sure to check in with her about her preferences and make sure that it feels good. Of course, you also have the ability to simply not go as deep, but that's going to be on you to remember not to go all the way in the heat of the moment, which can be kind of difficult. It is all about communicating with your partner and ensuring that you both are having a good time. The good thing about this con is that there's always an adjustment that can be made in order to make it work. You've just got to be mindful. Con number 2, not everyone is flexible. It is true and important to note that some people will struggle to get into this position comfortably or to hold it for any length of time. Not all of us are capable of putting our ankles up by our heads or even close to them, and that is okay. Not every sex position has to work for everyone every time. Not everyone will be able to get into the full position, depending on whether your partner has ever had a leg or a hip injury, or like me, sex injuries from doing this position with too much force in the past. It could be very uncomfortable. Luckily, there are some easy adjustments that make this position much more accessible. First of all, the receiver's legs don't have to be resting on the giver's shoulders. Simply bending the knees and then lifting up the pelvis can offer the same benefits of this position while being a little less physically strenuous. She can even hook her arms underneath her thighs, underneath her knees, and sort of hold her legs back from outside of your body. You can also place a pillow under the receiver's hips to help prop them up. In fact, a company called Taboo recently made a special pillow specifically for moments like this. It's got a really soft give, but it remains quite firm, so her hips can sink in a little bit, but not too much as you are thrusting away at her. Link will be in the description. It might not be quite as acrobatic, but you can still get plenty out of these seashell variations if you do it in this way. Con number 3, limited clitoral access. My final con is that this position isn't exactly known for providing great access to the clitoris, which, as we all know because we subscribe to this channel, plays a crucial role in female pleasure and orgasm. Especially if the receiver's legs are squeezed together, chest or belly is pushed up against them, the clitoris isn't actually going to just get a lot of action in this position, whether from like being pushed against by your body or by a hand or a toy. Look, the reality is that not every single position has to include clitoral stimulation, but if you're with a partner who needs it to get off, then you at least want to make sure that she's going to get it at some point. Of course, there are more creative solutions. One thing you could do is bring a vibrator into the mix and place it between her legs as you penetrate her. One of those vibrators that stays inside of her body or hooks around her vulva, or one that has a long handle that she can operate and can be squeezed in between you. These are all ways that you might be able to get around this problem. Or she can potentially, depending on her flexibility and her wrists and all that, maybe get a hand in there, but again, it's just not ideal for that. Not the hardest problem to solve. You just got got to be aware that it is a thing. And just an honorable mention, I'm not going to call this a con because it is a natural part of sex. It happens. But this position is known to be good for queefing. Because of the way that she's bending, depending on her body, this position makes it somewhat easy for air to enter her vagina, especially if you are penetrating her with more of a pump motion as opposed to a grinding motion. And when it comes to air in the vagina, what goes in must come out. And there you have it. I'm curious to hear about your experiences with this position, so please let me know in the comments. I do always read them and I love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe for weekly videos that cover all things sex and relationships. I'm Caitlin V, your sex and relationship coach, and I will see you here later this week. Bye.